Well, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact. I got the Vegas Bad Boys here with me today. And hey, welcome everybody. It's good to see you. We're on pay-per-view weekend. We're going to break it all down. TLC just ended about an hour ago. We're also going to talk about ROH, which was a great pay-per-view as well, and then recap some of the weekly shows. So with that, let's jump right into the TLC match. I tell you guys, one thing WWE is getting right is their pay-per-views. I that's just my opinion. You might say no, but I enjoyed pretty much what they put on tonight. They started off with the WWE Championship title with AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. I thought I mean, guys, they went 40 minutes. What's your take?
Good.
Good.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah, like the match had pretty much everything that you thought that it could be, and then some. I mean, you had the cash in, and
yep.
It was a solid match, man. I was really impressed. I went into this pay-per-view not really expecting that much, and right. This is kind of the trend that we're going to see across the board. Is that it exceeded my expectations almost completely across the board.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about I think the big. First of all, if you're listening to this on the podcast on Monday, tomorrow on 3 Count, we'll get into a little something about ratings. But Raw is suffering some bad ratings right now, and I don't fucking see why you're keeping the title on Drew McIntyre. Was it exciting at all that he won the match, or was it just like, okay, he gets it again? I think right now that it would have been more suitable for putting someone like The Miz, who you just fucked. You just fucked him. You had him take the case from Otis, which in itself was a head scratcher because you just kind of had Otis cash in and lose. But on top of that, now you have Miz and Morrison teasing this whole thing, going through all of this stuff, only to cash it in, to lose it to Drew McIntyre in the most predictable way, which was Drew pushing the ladder into the ladder where both of them fall in the ring. For the hard work that they put into it, I thought the outcome was just, whatever. Fucking once again.
Mm-hmm.
Same old shit. Just, have AJ win it at least. At least you have someone who has a solid reputation going into the pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But now it's Drew still. So I don't know. That's just me. I'm not convinced that he can carry a company. And we're seeing it.
Okay. I'm still a Drew fan, but I can take what you say into consideration. And, and I think we're going to talk more about that when 3 Count comes around, which will be on Tuesday's podcast. Unless you're watching us live right now, you'll get to hear it later on this evening. Let's jump over right quick to the Women's SmackDown Championship with Sasha Banks and Carmella. You take this one, Simon Street. Would you happy what you saw, or a little disappointed?
I mean, I was okay with what I saw. And that's more with. I was worried that Carmella and what she brings to the ring wouldn't mesh well with Sasha in a match, but I felt like it was pretty decent on Carmella's part. I mean, I was entertained.
Yeah.
Obviously I liked the result. I can tell you right now, because we talked about it on last week's show, Carmella, and I think it was Michaels that said it, Carmella really honestly, for my opinion, for her to be successful in these matches going forward with whoever it is, she needs to find a way to add something to her tool belt, because right now it looks like she needs either an Ellsworth or a Grand Marnier or somebody to help her win and to be appeasable. Me personally, and I ain't gonna talk about it, Friday on SmackDown, whatever she was wearing, that's appeasable enough. So she need to go on that route. It's gonna be more appeasable, but we're gonna get into that later. I'm just saying.
Listen, okay. let's be honest here. She is so lucky that the TLC fire around the ring didn't go off, or she would have just fucking melted right there in the fucking ring.
Wow.
That's hilarious. Oh
That
my
was good.
God.
That was good.
Man. Well, let me ask you, Sin City Steve, the Hurt Business, man, they got all the gold now, man. What do you think about that?
This is a little thing that I like to call booking that needed to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been, foreshadowing the Hurt Business carrying gold,
Yeah.
and every member carrying gold since the beginning. So
Mhm.
this was just natural progression.
Yeah.
I did notice during the pre-match promo, and it's people have gotten better with this, but I've noticed on this pay-per-view, on this show,
Mhm.
with the promo that the New Day cut right before with Charlie, I noticed that they had a little bit of the boo-boo face, a little bit of the, oh shit, I'm going to go out here and do a job, and I'm not necessarily happy about it. I picked up on that immediately from Xavier Woods, and he's like, the guys on the roster, the main roster, have gotten at least better at masking that or playing a little bit of a poker face, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely tell, even just from that promo and the way that they walked out and everything like that, that they were losing the titles. So
Right.
this is just something that needed to happen across the board.
Sure.
Whether or not the other guys on the other side were a fan of it.
You're right.
What was really strange is at the end of the match, usually when they peel out so they don't come across the other team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very strange peel out because they were right there and there was like no interaction, no reaction, no nothing.
Yeah.
To the fact that they were there. So I haven't seen anything that says that this was not the plan. I don't know if there might have been some kind of injury or change of call or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to God that Cedric tagging himself in leads to them outing Shelton Benjamin at some point and getting rid of him.
Damn.
I knew that was coming. I knew it.
What's wrong with Shelton? Shelton can hold his own.
Yeah, Shelton could hold his own, but so can your grandfather, right?
No.
Well, there you go.
Oh my God.
Shit.
I think that at the end of the day, the old phrase goes, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if anything, the last couple of weeks have shown us, Shelton Benjamin persistently has raised his hand for that role.
Hey, he needs to get his mama back.
Well, he need to do something because at the end of the day, it's just business, and the Hurt Business is a business.
That is true.
Yeah, how many people do remember Shelton Benjamin's mama?
Oh, I remember him. Him and Haas, man. I mean, they were they attended the same school as these other like Gabriel.
No.
The Alpha Academy.
Yeah, but you're not even remembering it.
What are you talking about?
After him and Haas were done.
Oh yeah, they didn't
Shelton
do that.
Benjamin's mama, who looked like Larry Johnson's mama from the old NBA shit.
I thought grandmama.
I thought it was Medea. It wasn't Medea. I thought it was Medea was his mama.
Oh my God.
Well, that was an actual woman. Believe it or not. Because it did look like Medea.
Oh man. Let's jump over into the women's tag team championship match. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, and
the worst kept secret in the world.
Charlotte Flair.
Can I ask a question? Was it just me or did Charlotte look extra cute in the face? Like I maybe I ain't seen girl in a while, and I was like, damn, Charlotte, you looking real cute.
Once again, if those fire cannons would have gone off, there would have been a hell to pay.
She was looking extra cute. I give
better
it to
than Mella.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, they are your Asuka and Charlotte are your new women's tag team champions. So let's see how long they'll take that.
I will say this with this match, that was, for all intents and purposes, I don't know, I didn't count how long the match went. Very fast paced, a lot of exchanges, a lot of things going on it, and I appreciate that. I feel like just in general, tag team matches should be faster paced and not drug out, especially with women's tag team. that is how I prefer to see a women's tag team title defense like that.
It's just a shame though, because you might be seeing the start of Shayna Baszler disappearing in the mix.
That sucks.
This feels like a Vince call.
Yeah.
That sucks though, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's unfortunate. I would like to hear her go to SmackDown.
What's his issue with Shayna? Because I've been kind of.
What's his issue with Keith Lee? What's his issue with any of those guys?
She doesn't. She doesn't have weight gain.
She doesn't exactly have the Vince preferred look.
Man, look. First of all, I hope that's not true, because if that is 100% true, that's some bullshit. Because
it's complete bullshit.
Yeah,
it's complete bullshit.
Shayna Baszler's badass.
She should be holding a women's championship.
Yes,
absolutely.
And she should be your equivalent to. See, here's the problem. The problem is if you take a fighter like her and you break her down into what they've been doing with her and taking away that aspect, now she doesn't hold any value to you. And so if you kept her at an elevated level where she was a badass that was hard to touch, then when you bring back Ronda Rousey, great. You have amazing, intense match built automatically.
Right.
Or when Becky comes back, you have a very intense match. Or when Charlotte comes back, oh wait, they already did that, so that just got thrown out really quick. That's why it's evident that this probably is leading towards the path of her, jobbing out for a while. Because here's the thing. Vince knows Charlotte. It's his fucking, it's like you might as well just make her a McMahon, because that's
no room.
What rates are like. Yeah.
It is true. There ain't no room. And even dare I say Asuka, holding that Raw Women's Championship.
Well,
that eventually is gonna go off her belt, off her waist.
What's probably going to end up happening is you have two ways to go with it. You have them continue a run together until you get close to WrestleMania. And then the one thing that has been consistent is Charlotte has beaten Asuka now twice at WrestleMania. So you either have her go a third time over, or you kind of flip the switch and you finally have Asuka go over on Charlotte. The question right now is, if they're both faces, does Charlotte go back heel? Yeah. There's a lot of gray area crossing right now into who's a face and who's a heel, because there seems to be a lot of flip-flopping going on. Like, for instance, we just talked about the Hurt Business. I still don't know. Are they fucking faces or are they fucking heels?
Bullies.
Well, bullies. But the thing is that in our society, bullies are heels. So it doesn't translate when you have them, essentially becoming faces when you're taking on Retribution for this stretch of 4 weeks or whatever the hell it was. And now they're heels because now they got all the belts and blah, blah, fucking blah. There's a lot of that gray shit going on right now. And the question is that going to translate, or are you going to lose people?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'll say the Hurt Business should represent themselves, a business, because there really is no bad or good business. It's just business. Right. And at the end of the day, if they keep presenting themselves, but here's what I feel they mess up with what you're saying. On Raw, they're going around bullying people, pouring large amounts of milk that shouldn't come out of one carton on someone's head, for a long period of time. I feel like that dilutes a business, because a business does shit effortlessly. We're not losing sleep. We're looking at numbers. It is what it is.
Yeah, but the problem with that, and this is one of those things about storytelling and wrestling that kind of doesn't fit all the time, and that is when you have a gray line like that, the problem is that if you're a baby face, you can sell and market certain merchandise towards the baby face. If you're a heel, you sell and market the merchandise towards the heel. With this, basically you're saying, if some of the fans like him, great. If some of the fans don't like him, great. Whatever. It's just kind of it's almost the most blah feeling. Instead of making, because if they were true bullies, if they were true business, then what you would have is them elevated. They haven't fucking been elevated yet.
Yeah.
They've been pushed, but they haven't been elevated. And I'll tell you, for as much as I'm not a fan of Drew McIntyre, listen, they elevated his ass. He's not just getting pushed, but he's been elevated. So now he's a top tier. They have to put him up on that level, and they're having a hard time trying to get there because really the charismatic person in that group is MVP. That's why he's in front.
Mhm.
Cedric Alexander shows that he's got slices of talent and can be that charismatic guy. But the thing is that he's in a position right now that there's not a position for him to shine. That's why I'm hoping that this transition starts the elevation of him. If you can elevate him, then you can save this fucking thing. Get rid of the pieces that you don't need anymore, add the newer pieces, and now you've got something that is going to be a hot product. They're not a hot product right now. I'd love to see what their merch sales are.
You know what? And that's the thing that just, for me, that's the one thing I hate about this business. I really hate that merch sales have so much fucking leadway on character development, because you're exactly right. It does fucking suck because it just, man, I wish we'd go back to a time to where that shit doesn't make a fucking difference. I think the product would be better.
There's never been a time that didn't make a difference.
Well, maybe it needs to happen, and maybe that's why CM Punk did, even though he was joking around saying, hey, will wrestling still be alive in 20 years? I guarantee you the bullet's going to come from a collectible shirt chamber.
Well, the bullet already came from a club.
I love it. Let's jump over to what I think, once again, best match of the night. I don't know how Roman Reigns been winning my top tier match on the last few pay-per-views, but the Universal Heavyweight Championship was on the line between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. Kevin pretty much had to take on two guys because Jay also was jumping in there. But man, I mean, that was a pretty intense match. Wouldn't you guys say? I mean, listen, when you know Roman is going to be, he's pretty much going to win, but it's looking like, well, shit, maybe Kevin might going to win this title. That's when you know the match is coming off the way that it should. And there were several times I was scratching my head like, damn, I think he might pull this shit off because he's right there, So I don't know. I thought it was definitely for me my top match of the night. You guys want to speak on that at all?
Who they bringing in? Because all I saw at the end of that match was that Kevin Owens can't do it alone. Although they didn't put the dog down for the fight of his life, I feel like that's the next step. We're gonna see on SmackDown somebody else comes in, and I'm gonna laugh if it's freaking Samoa Joe, because they've tried that before with somebody else. Yeah, I just feel like, where the fuck does this go with Kevin Owens, man? This was an awesome match.
Kevin Owens goes back to the upper mid card. Sadly,
yeah.
This felt like a bit of a blow off.
Although the end of the match didn't, though.
Yeah,
because he got that rise back up.
Yeah,
I think the blow off comes at the Rumble.
You think so?
Yeah, just because of the fact that I don't think. I mean, obviously Kevin's not in the plans for the title picture, so
right.
There's no reason to start something up with Roman, have Roman finish it, and have it, I don't know, like you could even possibly just fucking have it a handicap match or something, have the Uso, the family versus Kevin Owens or something. But I feel like they're gonna give him that last hurrah on SmackDown of coming out and basically saying, hey, you didn't put me down.
Mm-hmm.
you know, basically, hey, if you want to get rid of this dog, just take me out and back. You have to really fucking shoot me now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I follow you, man. I think that they did do a good job of, you know, building the fact that Kevin Owens has heart, and, you know, that he has this he's a baby face that you can believe in, things of that nature, because he never gives up, all that kind of happy horse shit. I don't know, man. The sooner that this program comes and goes, the happier I'll be. I want to see these two guys separate. Just because realistically, we all know that Roman isn't losing the title anytime soon. And it really sucks whenever you have what seem to be lame duck challengers in the way. Because Roman's not going to lose the title for at least another 6 months.
Well, that brings up a dilemma, though, because you can't have it both ways. And when I say that, I mean this. The same people who would say something like that would say, but they don't put Brock Lesnar on TV when he has the belt. My feeling is that's why you keep fucking champions off TV.
Right. No, I've always been in
not saying you in personal, but I'm just saying that flip argument was that whole thing about, well, he's got the title, but he's never wrestles. He's never on TV. Well, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck do you keep feeding to Brock Lesnar to make him so? And that's the thing. You have now Roman Reigns as this unbelievably untouchable fucking character. So what do you do? And whoever is going to challenge for it, and you use a guy like Kevin Owens because of the fact that he doesn't get hurt by this, especially the way they're booking it. He doesn't get hurt.
Right.
So, but that is a dilemma. And they're, again, when you're going to book such a strong style, that is going to be a problem. Also, the whole rumor mill about The Rock and fighting Reigns, the idea now has been kind of floated out there, if you listen to The Rock, that, well, maybe this isn't a good time to do it, because if there is potentially no audience or a cut down audience for WrestleMania, why fucking do it? So in that case, then the question is, well, who wrestles Roman? And at that point, you got to still see if Roman's popularity because of this now elevates him where you can twist him into a face, then it's possibly Seth Rollins, right? Because that would make sense, being a history there. But other than that, and other than someone like Brock Lesnar coming back, who challenges him? Who can you legitimately say that person has a chance?
If let's say, and maybe it's just me on a wish list, because it definitely wouldn't fucking happen in 6 months to a year. If they were able to put Big E in a time machine for 2 years, bring him back, that could work. But that is just so far of a long shot of reality.
Big
That's
E
all I can
not
see.
A champion.
I know. I said right now. I said 2 years.
No, in 2 years, he is still not a champion.
He's still not a champion. Not at all.
The reason being is this, and I've
too much of a joke.
No, not the joke factor, but I've thought long and hard about what is it about Big E that doesn't give him the it factor. And the fact of the matter is that he is not a character that has the ability to make you gravitate towards him. So if you push him too much, you're in the same situation you had with Roman, where, you're feeding him, just shoving it down our throat. The problem with Big E is that, honestly, Sammy is throwing a little bit of a nice little shoot in there when he says stuff like, hey, you're supposed to be on this breakout run and you ain't going nowhere.
Well, and I thought that the whole purpose, I'm glad you brought that up, is I feel like they're trying to present a transformation of Big E. And I feel like it bounces back and forth between the jokester that we all love from New Day to Big E, which could be a blend of when he was with Ziggler or a new whatever. I'm hoping it's brand new and he's focused, because they keep presenting that wordplay. So you mean to tell me, Michaels, that for whatever reason, Big E will never ever change? Like he is set in stone in the halls, the golden halls of WWE Valhalla. This is who he is. There's nothing that can change him.
Short of Vince McMahon dying, no.
Well, let's be honest. Short of Vince McMahon dying is going to be like epic. You know, sorry to see him go, but it's going to be a brand new beginning. But outside of that, there's nothing that can be done.
No, I don't. I mean, at this point, there's one thing that is a proven formula to work for this company when you want to make a superstar. I mean, a legitimate superstar. You put him with Paul Heyman, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns have all gotten the rub.
You know what I will say, and I'm only put out, I don't want to talk about it too much. Impact, if we can find a way, what makes Paul Heyman, and will there ever be another Paul Heyman? I know that's a tricky question because it's not just a guy who can talk on the mic. Something about Paul Heyman, because you're exactly right, Michaels. You put someone with Paul Heyman, you're shoot to the fucking to the next galaxy. But I'm saying, will there ever be another fucking Paul Heyman? Because I ain't seen nobody even come close. And I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right now in this roster, not ever, but in this roster.
No. And to kind of echo that point, Chris in the chat says there's nobody currently on the SmackDown roster that is a viable and credible opponent for Reigns. I agree 1,000,000%.
No, there's nobody.
Yeah. There you go. And you too, if you're watching us on our stream, you can leave comments too, and as we see fit, we will go ahead and put that also a part of the conversation. All right, so definitely thank you, Chris, and everyone. We see Lori just jumped in, and just shout out to everyone who's watching us do this live. The Firefly Inferno match, Randy Orton versus The Thing. Wow, were you guys ready to see the fire blaze? I love that expression in the city.
I will tell you this real quick. I was pissed the fuck off for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Because I saw that and I was like, why can't WWE 2K, whatever the next game, have this match and then someone's lit on fire? Oh, I'm sorry. That game will never have that shit. I want Mortal Kombat to come out with a fucking stage like this so I can throw somebody in a fucking fire spick, because that's what it fucking looked like, and have them catch on fire. Interesting match, but pissed me the fuck off.
Were you entertained, folks?
If I had a skewer of barbecue, yeah.
I would have been much more entertained had it been a cinematic match, though.
See, yeah, I'm going to go opposite of that view, because I think that the easy route to go is make it a cinematic match.
Yep.
I think the key here was it took them 22 years to finally get it right. Because when they first invented this concept, and ever since then, the one fucking thing they've always fucked up on was one of the guys would have totally exposed parts of their body. So you knew that that guy was not going to get set on fire. And they did that for years and years and years. The thing that they were able to finally do, and this is why they didn't need to make it a cinematic match, because they had no audience, you're able to move the guy out. No one saw that.
Right.
No one. So why not finally set someone finally on fucking fire? And that was the best fucking way to do it. You have Randy go out of the ring, cameras following him just like any other time. Your brain's not thinking that the guy's getting out of the ring, because what was in the ring looked exactly like fucking Bray Wyatt.
No, it didn't. That his skin color was as light skinned as my shit. He went from white to light skin. Saw that, I said, man, that ain't your ass. Did you get a tan laying down?
the main point though being
I get you.
is that if you're going to do something like this, which you've had a concept for 22 years of doing, you finally get to execute it. And I'll tell you right now, in the past 22 years, they would never have been able to get anything close to looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to, man. That was a fucking life-size fucking dummy that they literally made for the precise purpose of melting the fucking thing. Or it was Carmella in a mask.
Jesus.
You know what? Don't make fun of Carmella. She is a very beautiful woman in SmackDown. We'll talk about that later. I'll talk more about that.
Beautiful as Barbie, and she has the exact same.
You know what? She makes me believe in Barbie again. You should just make her into a Barbie doll. Barbie
She's
will go
doing a great job herself, man.
So overall, great pay-per-view. You guys would give it somewhere A, B. You was quite satisfied, entertained by it.
I give it a B.
Yeah,
I'd say B. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Everything's been solid. And the fact of the matter is that one of the reasons their pay-per-views have been fairly solid is the fact that you don't have to monkey around with, commercial breaks. You don't have to get people on the show that don't really, have it. You're really focusing in on 5 or 6 matches now without, having to take time from shit.
So let's take a look at Raw and SmackDown. We'll combine both shows this past week. Is there anything worth mentioning on those shows that, did not take place in tonight's TLC match?
Well, I will tell you, surprisingly enough, I found Raw entertaining. Unfortunately, the ratings did not. So I don't know what the fuck. Why did I find it entertaining? Is probably because it just, like I told you, Impact last week, or if Raw could be an M&M package, it was a colorful mixed bunch of nuts, and Raw was entertaining to me that way because it was just weird. It just, for whatever reason, this past Monday was just weird. Little bits of weird shit was going on, and I found it just entertaining, and I actually watched all 3 hours, not bored.
Is there anything in particular that you want to mention from either show that we didn't get an opportunity to see that played out tonight?
No, I mean, everything pretty much was loosely connected.
Okay.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to mention it took until SmackDown with the Sami Zayn segment, the first annual Sammy Awards, for me to actually, get into anything that was on the WWE main roster product on regular TV this week.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned, 5 hours and 4.5 were just absolutely missable. That's a problem.
Wow.
Well,
man, you
I do like that Sammy segment though. That Sammy segment.
Yeah,
that
was the lone bright spot for me on WWE TV this week.
I think it's a little unfair because as good as that segment was, which was brilliant, and I'll get to something about that in a second, but having Kevin Owens get fucking jumped like 3 times during the show, that was at least it was a good setup. You just don't like seeing Kevin. Let him go to EE so he can be champion.
No. I just don't like seeing a fucking Kevin Owens requiem or burial fest.
He's just mad because they
hear me
overworked
out.
you
Hear
as a
me
stunt
out.
double.
Hear me out. What happened on the pay-per-view that actually cast him in a favorable light. So that leaves me with a little bit of a better feeling as far as how he's going to spin out of this once it's done. But when I watched SmackDown this week, I was completely just.
Did you watch Talking Smack?
What's that?
Did you watch?
I did not watch Talking Smack.
So here's where we get into this whole idea once again of the main wrestling show, whether it be AEW or WWE, using other shows that people don't watch in the same magnitude.
Bingo. Yeah.
So if you would have watched Talking Smack, you would have seen that they didn't bury him. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're a wrestler out there, please, I can't encourage you enough to find the episode of Talking Smack from this past Friday. And you're going to watch Paul Heyman within the first 10 minutes deliver one of the greatest promos in the history of fucking entertainment. It is unbelievable. It is mind-blowing that he can just do this by simply taking a step back, breathing, looking in the camera, and being so intently scared and full of fear because of what just happened on SmackDown. And the whole point was the fear that Kevin Owens, I don't want to see what is about to happen to you happen. Kevin comes out half an hour later and cuts one of the most brilliant fucking entertainment segments as well, because now Kevin sits down and he extends his hand to Paul. Shake my hand. And Kevin goes onto this thing about Paul. It's not, you shouldn't be afraid of what Roman's going to do. You should be afraid that I am not going to quit. It was fucking brilliant. And it got put on Talking Smack. That's one of the big problems when you talk about really good shit, is because they still have to do this goddamn fucking commercial television shit. We know this is where all the money is. Okay, we get it. But for the entertainment value, they don't give a shit about Talking Smack in terms of what it does rating wise. They obviously, because they allowed Renee to leave after her contract was up, they don't care that they have JoJo Light on that fucking show hosting, because she's fucking goddamn awful. But what they do is they allow the characters to go out there and cut some of the best fucking promos you'll see. And it was something that they were doing, you know, before they canceled it for a while there, and then now they finally got smart and brought the shit back. It really helped fill in that feeling, because if you just watched a show like that, you know, it does leave you at a cliff of like, well, all right, Kevin came back, all right, he's going to lose the match, blah, blah, blah. That setup really made you feel something about going into the match. That was the great shit, man. And for you know, I'll say that I don't watch it all the time. I just happen to record it because of the fact that it was right on after it aired on FS1, right? What a good time to check it out. And this is why they did it like this, right? Perfect. You can check it right out. I might want to tune in more to this now.
Yeah.
Because it gave me a different perspective on what you can do. And it's funny too, because Booker is Booker. You know, he'll always be Booker. We've seen him in all these different incarnations of talk shows. He's entertaining for who he is. And like I said, Kayla is, you know.
Okay. You mean JoJo? You mean JoJo?
JoJo Light, yeah.
Because you said JoJo, and I was scratching my head like, did she?
No, it's Kayla.
Okay, you just said JoJo the first time. I was like,
JoJo Light. That's, to me, that's all she is. JoJo Light. She literally, hey, let's find a girl who looks like JoJo and can do nothing like JoJo could do, and just put her in there.
Oh, damn.
Man, that sounded like a recipe for some marriage problems.
You sound like Paul Heyman when he attacks Kayla.
I'm just.
Can you do anything right?
Listen, Mr. DJ Impact, I'm purely telling you the truth behind the words that I am saying here.
Oh, there you go. We have another Paul Heyman.
Well, there we go. Well, I guess that takes care of Raw and SmackDown. You know, we
Wait.
saw,
One
Okay.
other thing.
okay.
I really, really would love to give Carmella a chance. But one of the things that really pisses me off is if you're going to use a goddamn fucking champagne bottle, don't hit him in the fucking back to where it's obvious where it's in the back. Like, she should have just turned around and just fucking punched her, man. It's just, that's what I say about when I feel that you're given all the fucking opportunity in the world as a fucking performer. Have some balls and just like fucking 2 minutes before you go out there, say, Sasha, is it okay if yeah, go ahead, because it's gimmicked. So even if Vince told you, or Bruce tells you, hey, just smack her in the back or whatever, fucking hit her in the head, please.
Well, you know what would be funny about Carmella on SmackDown is hearing Corey Graves give his opinion on Carmella. I'm like, that ain't what you really want to say, because you know the goods, brother. You know the goods. You went through to get that. I'm just saying, we ain't forgot.
And that brings up a fun. I'm glad you said Corey, because anytime I think of Corey, I think about his praising of Mandy. And
right. Yeah, he loves him some Mandy.
And by God, when she came out
on Raw,
it was just just a run in on Monday night. By God, she is. I mean, and I don't mean this from an objectifying way. I'm looking at this as if I was casting her, she's a fucking $1 million fucking person right now, because she's got those goods that can make you a superstar. In the wrestling ring, not as much as an actual wrestler, but as an entertainer, by God, get that girl fucking, first of all, WWE, you have a fucking entertainment complex, make a fucking television series or a movie with her, because she is fucking money, man.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not utilized.
Let me ask you this quick question. Between Carmella and Mandy, Mandy has a better time given the opportunities that Carmella's had. You think she can go further?
I think honestly, Mandy probably right now is a better in-ring person, just on wrestling skills, if you're comparing the two. I unfortunately, Mella never appeared to me when she came into NXT and was there. It was always in that valet capability. And then she wanted to prove herself, which I'll give her all the credit for. Mandy stepped into Tough Enough, and I was not really sold on her during that Tough Enough run. I thought they were overhyping her a little too much, and she worked her ass off. And let's face it, she's in a position right now where they don't really have anything for her that's going to elevate her. So, use her in another aspect, at least, to keep her on TV, because she has a personality. She is entertaining. We saw it. Listen, she made that Otis thing. Her and him made that fucking work. In one of the oddest pairings that they've ever put together.
Man, it was weird science, but it worked.
It worked. Yeah. So I think that she would have a lot of money to her. I also really hope that that the Riot Squad gets a little rub right now.
Man, thank you for saying that. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why are they not getting love in a place that needs viable women's tag team options being built?
Right. And we're finally getting to see a fucking personality from Liv Morgan. And it's fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Superwoman. No, not Gal Gadot, who plays it, but no, Superwoman.
And Wonder Woman.
Why not?
Actual Wonder Woman.
My bad. Why Wonder Woman? Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So those are little odds and ends that we're seeing from both shows.
Sure.
But overall, obviously, it was a pay-per-view week. So
Hey guys, don't forget we finally saw the climax to the Lana and Nia Jax bullshit, being thrown through the table 9 times. only for Lana to get a fluke pin and then
Oh,
get her
man.
arm broken.
Look. I will tell you this. I never thought in history I see anybody beat Nia Jax by laying and getting a pin by laying on her cakes. I was like, my goodness, that is the most awkward way to get a pin.
Well, I think that shows us that if your husband tweets out something and he works for a different company, guess what? You're off the pay-per-view.
Yep.
You know what? I can't say I was thrilled, but I was kind of dancing when I saw her get taken out.
All right.
Wow.
How are you dancing? How
You
are you
fucking
dancing?
would.
I would, because honestly, as much as I don't like Carmella's in-ring ability, I think Lana is fucking worse than her and being pushed for no fucking reason, because she is, at this point, you know what? Boy, if I had their power and I had their checkbook, just write the check, say, you know what? In fact, go to AEW and we'll pay your salary for the next year.
Damn.
Jesus.
So Michael, who's the worst out of these three I'm gonna name? Billy Kay. Let me finish. Billy Kay, Lana, or Carmella in ring.
Yeah, in ring, it's Lana. It's Lana.
Even over Billy Kay, I'm just saying Billy Kay did not look good at all on Friday.
You know, here's the thing though, with Billy Kay, the brilliance of it right now is she doesn't
She's
have
playing she's playing into a character. Clairvoyance is probably her strongest strength.
It's, you know, and that's something very, again, when you think of wrestling, one of the simplest things is if you can see the bit of the weakness and play to the strength of the person themselves. Billy Kay is an entertaining fucking person, especially with that New Zealand accent, and just the fact that when she came out with the resume in her like back, pulls out that resume.
It wasn't wrinkled, by no surprise, because there's nothing that would have caused that paper to wrinkle in the back.
Yeah, right.
I'm just playing. I love you, Billy Kay. You're a beautiful woman. I'm very happy for your
man.
success.
And what's interesting too is that if you're bringing up people, listen, I don't mind how they're using Carmella, because you need something to shine Sasha. That's great. But when you look at Raw, anytime that you have anyone like Lana, now you're taking away from someone like Peyton Royce. Who does have a little, you know, she's not the best in the ring, but she has a little more experience, and
she's with some seasoning, I think she could do really well. Also, just have to go back to Chris in the chat. He says Otis and Mandy is the most unusual and yet successful duo since Viscera and Lillian Garcia.
I remember that.
I mean, it's up there with Mae Young and Mark Henry too.
Henry.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, and
good.
And we just, since we brought him up, Otis. Yeah. I know, again, 3 count tomorrow. You know, if you're listening on the podcast, you'll hear it tomorrow on 3 count. We'll talk a little bit about this idea of guys like Otis and what's his nuts going, being sent down to
Keith Lee
to train a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit, but boy, for a guy who, you know, apparently the boss doesn't necessarily like, and for the idea that Keith Lee got beaten on Raw, no, that shows that Vince doesn't like him. But yet Otis has a great little match, when eventually you're going to see something happen between him and Gable. And once again, if I was them and I could write the checks, just let him go to AEW and you can pay Gable for the next year to be in AEW.
Well, I also too love that sentiment, because I know if I see a match with Gable and Otis, I know that they'll be on the level eye to eye, nose to nose.
I don't know. Gable seems to be up to his belly button with his eyes.
Jesus.
Gable's like,
No, aren't they the same height? They're the same height.
I don't know, man. Let's put it this way. Gable to me looks like the Miz did in fucking the arms of AJ's bodyguard tonight during that triple threat. That fucking baby doll. Holy shit.
Well, you should see the way that he held AJ. What was it on Monday? He just picked him up like some groceries, just
Yeah, seriously, man.
lightly, no stress.
So that's an indication that again, he's one of the guys who apparently is going to be training extra at the Performance Center. With a guy like him, what the fuck are you going to do with this guy ever? So.
Yeah. All right, fellas. A lot there going on with WWE this week, and we still got NXT we're going to come up with in a minute. But let's jump over to ROH, the final battle, which also happens this weekend. If you guys happen to see it, you can jump in. If there's something that you wanted to mention about it, I'll just kind of mention there was a lot of different title shots and different things that were happening during the match. First off, ROH, I just want to let folks know, if you didn't know, it is back on, and it is very entertaining. It is great. I mean, if you were a fan before, you will still be a fan now. And if you wasn't a fan, this is a good time to become one, because the wrestling is on point. And now that they are set up in the in an arena out in, I believe it's in Baltimore or Maryland or somewhere.
It's by their training. It's
right.
Their training.
It's a nice setup. Just how they have the 4 screens on all 4 sides. I mean, it's just really a nice setup they have, and the wrestling is just on point. So the final battle, they had a winner wins a TV title shot. That was with Dak Draper, LSG, Tony Deppen, and Josh Woods. And Tony Deppen ended up winning that one, which was shocking. He was going to fight later on again for the TV title against Dragon Lee, who's holding that title. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But after that match, it was the first ever tag team match under pure rules. And you had Wheeler Yuta and Fred Yehai against the Foundations, Rhett Titus and Hotshot Tracy Williams. And yes, the Foundation, they won that. Great duo when you see those guys together. Again, that was a good match, and that was the first ever tag team under pure rules. I kind of like the pure rules, because it's really just an old school style of wrestling. And, we talked about it not too a few weeks ago about what are the pure rules, but it was an awesome match. So if you get a chance to see any of that part of the pay-per-view, I think you're going to like it. They had the ROH tag team titles with Mark Briscoe and PCO go against, again, the Foundations, Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. Now, Jonathan Gresham had 2 matches tonight, man. This was his first one. And, and so you had Mark Briscoe from the Briscoes with PCO. It looked like for a minute they actually was going to, PCO, whenever he's wrestling, it looked like he can win any match. You know what I mean? Like you just know, oh man, he's about to win it, and it doesn't come down that way, but it just shows you just how great the match is. And we already know about Briscoe themselves, but the Foundation, they won that the ROH tag team title, so they still get to hold on to that. Then there was the Righteous, Vincent Bateman and Bateman, and they were going against Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. They call that the grudge match, as you know. And Matt Taven and Mike Bennett was a part of the Kingdom with there. And then, of course, Vincent also was a part of that. So this was really just a matter of, yes, a grudge match. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett did win. But I tell you, the Righteous brought down a female I'm not too familiar with. Her name is Vita Von Starr. That was her name. She came down with the other 2 guys, and she pretty much, after the match, hit both Matt Taven and Mike Bennett with a low blow. And that allowed Vincent and Bateman just really just go crazy onto both Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, to the point where Mike ended up getting his ankle damaged by a chair afterwards. So, again, that was a very good match, good grudge match there, but we'll see what happens with Mike Bennett going forward. Then there was Dan Housen versus Brian Johnson. Now, I'm not too familiar with Dan Housen. I don't know if you guys know a little bit. He has this clown act, and it's pretty interesting, this kind of watching him do his thing. This was all about if he wins, he get an ROH contract. And because he was up to his clown gimmicks, he pretty much took a microphone and hit himself on the head with it and wiped his own clown paint off of his forehead and gave the mic over to Brian. And of course, the ref didn't see that. He saw the mic on Brian's hand, and what do you know? He gets disqualified Brian, and Dan Housen now gets his ROH contract. So I'm very interested to see his character going forward. I was really entertained by him. And then, of course, the ROH.
Who's the better Darby Allin?
Okay. Here you go.
Fuck out of here.
There was an ROH television champion again, Tony Deppen. He won in the beginning of the match against Dragon Lee for that championship. In Dragon Lee, he maintained that title there. Interestingly enough, in that match, they had a commentary by Amy Rose. And what's interesting about her commentary is just in Spanish. So, it's what's his name? Is it Ikebani? Is that the commentator? I don't know his name.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Ian Riccaboni.
Riccaboni, okay. So he knows some Spanish, and he kind of figures some things out, but her whole commentary is Spanish, and I just love it because they're trying to figure out what she's saying, and she's just speaking it like everyone understands what's being said. Then there was the final two matches, the Pure Championship battle, Flip Gordon versus Jonathan Gresham. Again, the Octopus. This was his second match, and Jonathan Gresham won. He won. And this, again, was under the Pure Championship rules, which says after the match, when you get beat, you're supposed to shake hands, and Flip Gordon walked away. So, he apparently don't understand the code of honor. But you know what actually happened? The referee had to stop that match because Flip Gordon was getting beat up, and he just know when to stop. Every time he get to the 2 count, he would rise up, but he was just kind of doing it out of reaction, But Jonathan already had him beat so many times to the point where the referee had to stop it. So maybe that was the reason why he didn't want to shake his hand afterwards. Great match to see. And of course, the main event, Brody King versus Roosh. That was the main event for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And that match was going really, really good. But eventually, Dragon Lee comes out, which I guess apparently is Roosh's brother, comes out. And who else comes out is Roosh's father. And while the ref was not paying any attention, he hit Brody with a chair, which of course knocked Brody out. And Roosh was able to get the 3 count to hold on to his world title. So that was pretty interesting.
I mean, they Dominic Mysterio'd him.
Pretty much. Yes, and I'm not going to even try to say what the name of their group is. You'll be really good with that one, Sin City. But apparently, his father has now joined the group. So he's got his father, Roosh, and then his brother, all a part of this group. And I guess Kenny King is also a part of this group as well. Mm-hmm. But him and a few others wasn't able to make it due to some COVID-19 testing before the show and everything. But it was a great match overall. Again, the pay-per-view, if you're able to go back and watch it, you would be really entertained by what you saw. And it was just good all the way around. So that was ROH. And
DJ,
Yeah, go ahead.
You
man.
have one piece of homework leading into next week.
Yes, sir.
I need for you
Okay.
to either hop on Google
Okay.
or whatever you need to do,
Yes, sir.
but I want you to train yourself to be able to say the name Los Ingobernables,
Ooh.
which is indeed the name of that faction. So I just,
Well, there's another word before that. The facion, la facion.
what faction?
It's faction there.
Okay.
DJ.
La fashion. Okay, la fashion.
Oh my gosh. Was it really faction? And he just said La
Faction.
Faction.
It's Faccion.
Yeah,
I'm just
faction.
okay.
Faction.
And okay, let me work on that.
All right.
Eh,
I'm
say,
gonna
say it again. What's the word again? Say it.
Los Ingobernables. Ingobernables.
Okay. Ingobernables.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what? If anybody's watching this right now, DJ Impact is going to have a GoFundMe so he can get a proper copy of Rosetta Stone. We need your support. Please send the money so we can get him a Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
He got his Rosetta Stone there from Chinatown in
The bootleg version. Rosita Stone.
Oh man. Well, anyway, Simon Street done went green on the screen here, but that's all good. I'm sure it'll fix
I
it.
went green on the screen.
Yeah, man.
I
don't
didn't
know.
see it.
we all see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did go screen. Oh, I did go screen.
Yeah.
I wonder who did that.
You got
There's
No.
nothing to do. I can't do anything like that.
Yeah.
That happened to you last week too, bro.
Did it really? That's sexy. Man, I just hulked out. Next time I take my shirt off. Next time
Well,
I turn green.
Please don't.
Well, I tell you
Why
what,
not, man?
Simon Street, tell us, man, what was happening on NXT, man?
NXT was good. It's consistent as usual. A couple things that I really liked is Rust. I think that he other than the fact of was it Bibbins? Is his name Bibbins?
Mhm.
Tell him you're a star. We already kind of knew that if you've been watching the product. I'm interested to see what they do with him. I'm worried if ever he really gets shot to the moon and goes to the main roster. If he does, his
He
name
won't
will
for a
only
while.
be Rust. It will not be his full name. It will just be Rust, which is a horrible name. But other than that, that was a great match. I mean, there was a lot of stuff to be said, but I will tell you the one thing that made me laugh like hell, and I don't know, I think it was Beth Phoenix that was saying it the most. When Karrion Kross had his debut match back, they had Desmond Troy dead to rights before the match even started. They said he was gonna get obliterated. I was like, damn, y'all don't even do ever rise, aka ever losing that bad. Y'all did Desmond Troy. Thank you for signing. It's been, but I mean, Karrion Kross whooped his ass and basically was like, you know what? I wanted to tell him, drop out, get your GED, bro. Thank you for showing up. It was horrible.
Well, according to his ring gear, which advertised the University of Michigan, he's basically doing that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, they didn't have to do him dirty like that over there.
I'm an Ohio State person, so that's
Oh,
the joke.
okay, good.
That's the
Right.
I didn't get that joke. I was just like, damn.
Right.
I mean, other than that, really good. They closed out the rest of the show with their main event. Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm was a good match. Obviously, some interference toward the end. With Raquel Gonzalez. Like I said many weeks prior, I am itching. I want to see a really good, dedicated match. Rhea Ripley, Gonzalez. I want it to be like Takeover, whatever the next Takeover is. No, my bad. They're already doing this, I believe, for New Year's Evil, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yeah, New Year's Evil. My bad. New Year's Evil. So I'm excited to see that transpire. That's going to be interesting. That's the number one match that I'm looking for. But NXT was good. I figured I'd make it short, not do the card.
Wow.
Impact
thank
already
you,
told us
thank
all
you
of our
for
rates.
not even mentioning one word in the best match on WWE
exactly.
TV in any brand, and quite frankly, one of the best matches that I've seen in quite some time. It's been at least a couple of months. Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne beat the shit out of each other. And this was what should have been your main event on this show, but this was the best match on WWE TV that I can remember for quite some time. This just fucking amazing. Both guys killed it. And yeah, both guys are main eventers, man. They're huge superstars. They're amazing.
There's a reason that it was not the main event. And I think it was clearly the idea of putting it in the middle so that any fan who went over from AEW to that match would watch for the rest of the show. This way,
but then shortly thereafter, like right after, you follow that up with probably the worst performance. And no offense, Simon Street, I know that you got kind of a little crush, but it was not a good night for Indy Hartwell.
No, it wasn't.
And I'm not saying the fact because she lost the match. It was painful to watch at some points in that match.
It was sloppy.
Yeah, but if you're watching AEW for the first part of the show and you flipped over there,
we haven't talked about AEW yet. I'm gonna surprise the shit out of you, Michaels.
No, I'm just saying though, that's like, that was my, my take on it is, if you flipped over during that period and you saw that, then yeah, you might have saw that, but also you're staying for that Ripley Storm match, and they delivered too. Now,
they definitely did.
If you would have put Ripley Storm in the middle, then I think you would have still had people who would have, potentially flipped back. I think that match, Kyle O'Reilly needs to get that fucking belt off of Finn Balor.
He does. I agree. It has to happen.
I hate to say this. I love Finn Balor in general, but honestly, at this point, if you're not going to use the demon at all, fucking sign a check, get him to AEW, pay him for the year.
Is that like your new thing? Like just sign the check, send him AEW.
Give him a severance package.
You watch. Michael's gonna start doing that shit with us. He gonna be like, you know what, Simon Street, go ahead and send him to AEW, sign the check.
Oh god.
Wait, you're getting paid?
Yeah.
If I go to AEW,
we need to fix that glitch.
Right.
No. I'm saying it in the sense of, if you go to AEW, you could be doing nothing and getting paid, is what my point is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is pretty much what you do in AEW.
So we will be getting paid if we go to AEW, even if we don't have to produce not a one show. Just be on standby and get paid.
Was that it for NXT?
That was pretty much it. I will say I like now that they're using the group The Way, at least officially. I think that's interesting. I think it's going to work for that faction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that they have, Theory looking as dumb as a brick, but he sure is strong. And Gargano dancing with that belt is pure comedy. I would take him to a cookout and play like some straight West Coast music and have him dance like that. It would entertain me. You can the Garganos can hang out with me at the next cookout after COVID has settled down. Open invitation.
Damn.
there you go.
Love the faction, hate the name.
The Way.
I just think it's funny, The Way. Sound like some shit our parents would say. This is the way.
Mandalorian, guys.
Yes, it really was. Yeah, this is the way.
That's why it's fucking topical, and that's why they took it.
Yeah. We'll jump over then to over into Impact Wrestling. And I will say, I was where the following week, where their show was whatever, as they were just pretty much trying to get to the point of, having Omega and Callis on there. They were just trying to put a show together to get to that point. But I will say, this past week, I thought they did a really good job. They were really building on storylines. Going back to some things that sometimes they could be very good at. And the show kicked off with, Willie Mack and Moose. Pretty much they were just having some words saying, hey, there's going to be an I Quit match that's going to happen on their Genesis show at the beginning of January. And this I Quit match will, pretty much put an end to their going back and forth. The funny thing about that particular match, though, is that Moose said, and I quote, "I'm tired of all of these independent wrestlers that's looking for opportunities putting hands on superstars." And I just thought that was pretty funny, because I'm thinking, for real, is that what you really want to call Willie Mack? What should we call you then? you want to be? Do you want to be the independent wrestler, or do you want to be the superstar, Moose? Because whichever one you give, that's what Willie Mack is too. So I'm pretty sure he's up in the superstar status with you. But they're finally going to have this match Saturday, January 9th on Impact Plus.
Did you just have to think about the word match? It's what wrestlers do, bro.
Probably. Listen, man, there's a million things going on in my head at once, so I appreciate it. So remember Manic. Manic is the X Divisional champion, right? So you have Chris Bay. He just went over there and had a talk with Rohit and said, "Look, man, if you just go remove that mask off of Manic, it'll be TJP. And guess what? They got to give you the title back." So Rohit going, "Well, shit, that does make sense." So, he's like, "Hey, I'm about to have a match. Come down with me. When you get the opportunity, grab that mask off." So of course, Rohit comes down. Chris Bay and them, they have this match. Eventually in the ring, while Chris Bay and Manic are fighting, Rohit eventually finds an opportunity to go get the mask off. Chris Bay sees Rohit in the ring and said, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Why are you in my match? Why are you getting involved? What's going on?" And Rohit's like, "Well, why are you playing dumb now? You told me to do this." And Chris Bay like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So eventually Rohit gets pissed off. He hits Bay, calls a DQ, makes Chris Bay wins. And now Chris Bay, is a part of the next shot for the X Divisional title. Instead of it just being Rohit and Manic, now it's going to end up being Bay. So pretty good little storyline that they did there. That was really good. They had the women's knockout tag teams title. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Skills went against Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. And Kiera Hogan and Tasha Skills won that. Only because, of course, there was an interference due to Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly attacking Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. But now it's going to be Kiera Hogan and Tasha Skills either going up against Havoc and Nevaeh, or Jordan Grace and Jazz, who would be the women's tag team knockout holders. So we'll see what happens there.
Did you say knocker holders?
Knockout holder.
Has the what do they call that? Edibles kicked in yet, or it's kicking in?
No, I'm just listening to what you're saying. It's how
okay.
You said they're gonna hold each other's knockers.
Oh man. And you remember that whole wad of cash that that they've been trying to figure out where the hell happened to it. Well, apparently Tasha Steele, who were saying that it's not in her fanny pack, eventually both of the girls got annoyed because Swinger came in their room. Okay, Swinger comes in there and they're like, "Look, you coming in, we're out." So Swinger decides he wants to switch fanny packs because he liked that they have a gold fanny pack and it's time for him to do an upgrade. And sure enough, he looks in the fanny pack and he finds a wad of cash. So apparently that wad of cash, which is Hernandez cash, is now in the hands of now Swinger. So they're just going to keep that storyline going as long as they want. But now he's the one that's got all of that. And Ethan Page now has a new alter ego. He's now what they call the Karate Man. So I don't know what the hell is going on, but he got
that's coming up. That's what's going on.
He got involved in Josh, his partner, in Brian Myers' match, and he came as the Karate Man. And I don't know. So that ended up happening. But the main thing is, of course, going back to what was happening with Don Callis and Kenny Omega on that bus. A lot was going there. Before I talk about that, though, there was a paid advertisement. Did you guys know that there is some paid advertisement that's still taking place? Well, I'm gonna give you a treat. I'm just going to give you just a little bit of it, okay? And hope that you enjoy some of what you were possibly missing.
The following announcement is paid for by All Elite Wrestling. It's great to be on cable access TV. Following this program, you will see the latest city council meeting. And
that's funny as hell. For real.
The owner of AEW, Tony Khan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schiavone. It's great to be here on Impact Wrestling, helping to fund your program via these paid ads. You get a lot of nice things here on Impact Wrestling. One of those things is you get to see the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. I'm going to let you keep seeing Kenny. I'm not going to slap an injunction on him because I think Kenny Omega is one of the two best wrestlers in the world, along with Jon Moxley, who he stole the championship from. I think there's nobody better than Kenny Omega to go around and show the image of AEW. I just wish he hadn't won the title the way he did. Don Callis, you came to my show and you taught me a lesson. You taught me nothing, Don. We did our biggest rating of the year. I got one of the greatest champions in the world, and he's out doing free press for us that I'm not paying for. I'm happy to pay for these ads, though, Don, and I'm going to teach you a thing or two about the wrestling business. I'm going to see Kenny tomorrow. You're welcome to come with him if you want, and then I'll start teaching you your lessons.
Lesson number one would be where to watch Access. I don't even know where to find it. If you ask your smart TV to put on Access, it says, dude, why? All right, we'll be
all right. Check this out.
The two greatest wrestlers in Impact history now with AEW, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. They will take on the hot new young duo of The Acclaimed coming up tomorrow night. You know, I asked Daniels and Kazarian, remember when Impact had fans when they were TNA? And they said, no, we don't. And they go.
Don, you're welcome to come with him, and I'll start teaching you your lessons about the wrestling business. Thank you, Impact Wrestling. It's been a pleasure.
Wow.
It's good to see Vince Russo on TV again.
Bro.
But I will tell you this, though. Say what you want about that, but that's way more entertaining than what Raw's consistently going to be doing.
Well, again,
that's outside the box.
So anyway, they paid for that, right? And then, of course, the way the show ended, right, exactly. The way the show ended, Kenny Omega finds his way into the back area of Impact Wrestling's studios, sees Rich Swann, knocks him out with something, a chair or a belt or whatever the case may be. And the Good Brothers show up, of course. And what do we have here? They said it's a good time to reform the Bullet Club. Okay. So now Don Callis said, you know what? I'm going to do this because I can. We're going to have Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Rich Swann and Motor City Machine Guns coming up at their pay-per-view Hard to Kill in January. So that's going to be very interesting, right? They now are, Matt Michaels are not sold on that. But hey,
we're going against Rich Swann and the fucking Motor City Machine Gun guys. What the fuck?
Well, Rich Swann is their champion. So
yeah, what the fuck?
Well,
I just saw him with the Hurt Business on Raw.
Oh damn! So
wow.
Yeah. Go.
Wrong,
you know what?
Wrong
Go
black
sit,
guy, bro. Wrong black guy.
Go sit in the corner, Matt.
Damn close to each other, man. Look at if I was the guy having to point out in the lineup, I'd not be able to pick the two apart. So would Vince.
But at least your honesty would probably save somebody's life if you just bowed in and said, I just can't pick.
So I will say this, Sin City, as we're gonna jump over into AEW. I will say I was first a little confused on why I hadn't seen too much, AEW showing that they're kind of upset at what happened. That paid advertisement came off pretty hard, man. I mean, they were shooting shots here and there.
Oh yeah,
shooting left and right.
Yeah, it was fun. It wasn't a shoot, but it was fun.
Yeah,
it was definitely fun to watch, and obviously, they appealed to the right fan demographic, if you will.
The ones they already have. I mean, what are they gaining by this?
Nothing.
They're showing fucking ads on
Nothing.
on a show that people can't find, as they're pointing out.
I would say this, Michaels. I agree with you 100% because every damn week, having access is bullshit.
I will say they found that 54,000 fans that we talked about that other week, so they did find them. But keep going, Sensei.
But those are AEW fans.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah, those are all
but that's-
AEW fans, without a doubt.
Not,
But those are all
but
those
if
are
you can get those
wrestling.
eight, right? But if you can, they didn't have them before, so if
Okay,
they can,
look.
so if they start to watch them on a regular basis, that's increasing their numbers.
What happens when AEW, their guys go away?
But the idea is
Those
hopefully that they
54,000 go
will
away
stay.
too.
All right, real quick. Let me just say this. Michaels, I agree with you. Sin City, I agree with you. Once AEW fans go away, Impact Wrestling needs to just figure out how can we teleport access to shit that everybody can watch. Okay. Outside of that, what Impact is doing is great, but they are a lot like the Dallas Cowboys. Right around playoff time, if the Cowboys are close to a wild card, you're going to see a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans start adding and crunching numbers. If we win this game and win another game and then we tie, we may have a possibility to get it. Yeah, we'll win both ways. It doesn't fucking matter what you do. You're still going to get to the same goddamn destination. Your problem, Impact, is not your talent. It's not your show. It's not the production. It's fucking on access. Change that shit and then talk to everybody else.
Change the shit because they own the station.
I own a house, but you don't see me running fucking flicks in my fucking bedroom because it's not the proper place to do it.
When did this happen?
I'm just saying in general, I own a place where I live. I'm saying in sense of just because you own some shit doesn't mean you should go with it if it's not going to take your company to the next level or to a more viable viewership.
Ultimately, I'm assuming, and I don't know what it would take for outside of people demanding their cable provider or whatever to put access onto their provider.
Maybe that's part of their plan. That's the only fucking thing that would make sense.
Here's the simple thing, guys. Very, very simple. $5 a month for Fight TV. You see fucking Impact. There you go. But they don't tell you that ever.
I'm not spending $5 on Fight TV just to watch Impact.
But if you add it to, so what you're advocating to do, and what Impact is saying, calling your cable provider or whatever, that's what you're going to end up doing. You're going to end up paying equivalent to about $5 a month for that station. So just get Fight TV for $5 a month, man. And
but what else is on fucking Fight TV? Well, what else is on Fight TV?
Ring of Honor, every fucking FSW.
But I already get those. That's what I'm saying. The only thing that I don't get that I can watch right now. What you call it? FSW. I can watch that on Twitch. Okay. I can watch. You said the other one was ROH. I can watch ROH already. YouTube TV.
Right.
So why would I spend $5 just to go to Impact? I mean, I'm not the only person
if you
counting
put
pennies.
it on your cable package, you will have to.
I don't have cable. I stream, which is mostly on the increase of most people in the
What are
United
you
States of
talking
America.
for then?
I'm just saying it's hard. It's hard
to fucking stream on Fight TV. I'm sorry. Any of you guys know any sites you don't have to pay for shit? Just let Simon Street know. So
I'm not advocating any of that publicly because I don't know about those things, Michael. I don't know about any of those things.
Well, listen.
Let him know.
Listen, the only thing I would say that I would disagree with you all, and I'm pretty sure you're right because you guys are true experts. I'm just a host. Okay, I got paperwork here.
Oh my gosh, don't sell yourself.
But listen, I would say this:
Better than that.
if 54,000 fans, if they're coming over from AEW, and they're more likely they are, I think that when this is all over, there is a good chance that they may maintain some of that. I'm not saying all of that, but some of that.
Nope.
And who knows? Well, again, that's my opinion, Michaels. Your opinion is they all going to bounce. I'm saying this is a good plan to help grow as much as they can do within the situation that they're in.
Ultimately, I agree with you. This is where Impact needs to step their game up, because what they do surrounding the Kenny Omega Don Callis stuff, separating from that, everything else on the show is going to be showtime for them. They need to impress those AEW fans so that they understand that Impact is a different company, that they are putting on amazing programming, and that they do need to stick around. So realistically, do I think that it'll happen? Well, if past track records hold true, probably not, because as we all know, Impact has the stink of Impact, so it's one of those things where people are used to them not performing as well as expectations saw fit. But this is definitely their time to shine. So we shall see if they rise to the occasion.
Well, and the bad thing is I don't even think about, when I think about just the Impact product, not how I can get access to it. It's always been a decent product to watch consistently for me. You know what I mean? And I'm not going in looking for it. So it's like them having to impress them. Yeah, you can put some extra shine on it. I still think the biggest problem is access. And I get it, Michael. If you say it one more time, I get it. It's they own the fucking television station. It just was always been a bad thing from the start.
My thing is this. This is how I listen. Just going back to that. If AEW fans hate WWE just because of what they've done for so many years, so that's why they enjoy being with AEW, and now they see what Impact's doing, which is not WWE, but they are putting on good storylines and putting on good wrestling, which again is something that is happening, at least in my eyes, this week, and since the week that Kenny has been on. I think this could bring some of those AEWs going, well, now I do have another wrestling outlet that I can watch that's just not AEW. And then AEW right now, we're all saying or going to say or have said, hasn't been its strongest lately. So if that is the case, maybe some of those that are now looking at Impact now will kind of fluctuate between Impact and AEW.
So do you think it helps a company when you're trying to bring your fans over to see their product, which you're not trying to bring your fans over to see their product, essentially? Impact is doing this to get people to see their product. Does it help to have the owner of the other company come on your show and say your show fucking sucks? They're shitting on the product that they're trying to help out.
And they weren't telling false truths. They were speaking some really hard truths.
And your pay-per-view main event, once again, will I reiterate, is going to be Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, which the AEW fans want to see, versus Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. It's not selling me a ticket. Other than going to see the Good Brothers and well,
I guess the name doesn't do anything for you, but Rich Swann and Motor City are at their best right now.
Yeah,
they're good in the ring.
Amazing.
I guess
I'm happy to see that match.
Right, but when you hear the name Rich Swann, you go, I don't
have a problem with any of that. Like in that instance,
I don't
agree with Michaels. In that instance,
right.
But again, you're telling me, how are you going to get me to retain eyes on the product? You've got the other companies shitting all over it, and you've got what I'm giving you is the reaction of someone who is not familiar with Impact, who might be tuning in for the first time to see it and going, who the fuck are these guys, right?
Well, it's a part of entertainment. It's a part of a storyline. So yeah, let them shit on them and talk shit. If Tony Khan and them are saying that this is a joke, a waste, or whatever of a company, but then you watch this and you have a different view of that, because they are putting on really good product.
Exactly.
You're not gonna sit there and go.
That's my point exactly, Impact. Right. I agree.
Yeah.
But then it all goes back to not counting if you illegally watch, and I'm gonna put it out there. If you illegally watch Impact Wrestling, how can you easily, keyword, because we're Americans, easily get access? The fact that you can't easily get access unless you live at Impact's house is appalling. And it hurts. I'm just being completely
No,
honest.
I get that. So listen, so we'll get this and we'll move on. I get the idea that when it comes to access, that's going to always be the issue. But what all I'm saying is, for the amount of new viewers that they have reached as of lately, that's the time for them to try to keep those new ones. Why stick to 166,000 per household if you can try to maintain the 244? That's all I'm saying. You're not going to get to 300,000. You're not going to get to 1 million. That's not going to happen. But why not try to maintain now the new 50, 60,000 that you got on? That's the only thing I'm saying.
And I'm telling you, when Kenny Omega goes away, so do those.
Okay. Well, let's go. Sin City, AEW, man. What's your take?
Well, in the name of moving things on, I'll talk about this show, but I'll be honest, I am not really looking forward to talking about AEW this week. It honestly felt like as if this was the result of a Patreon tier where you paid X amount of money and you could book an AEW show.
How's it going? How's it going?
Wait, before you get into it, and I think you just made some brilliant point, because I mean, regardless of what I think of the show or not, aside, what's interesting is, DJ, you were just arguing for the fact that Impact is making their product better. AEW now is looking, in an AEW fan's eyes, shittier. So who's really win? I'm so confused on what
we'll see.
But the bottom line is
how this shit plays out. I mean, this is as far as I know, this could very well be a one show anomaly. I was much more sports entertained by NXT this week on Wednesday. Point blank, bar none. It is what it is. So on this show, I mean, you had the main event was, Joey Janela versus Kenny Omega in a glorified fucking squash match. Come on, man. Like, I get it. I understand why Janela was booked, because you can beat the shit out of the guy, and he's so low on the totem pole already that there's nowhere for him to go down any further. But at the end of the day, obviously it makes Omega look even more like a heel, because he's putting on the title on the line against a guy that has no business challenging for the title. And I do not, by any means, Mr. Khan, if you're watching, if you're listening, please do not allow Don Callis to do commentary over the house mic and in the arena. It just, when I don't know, there's a difference in sound when they're on, the headsets, and it's obvious that, it's not going over the loudspeakers in the arena. I know that WWE has done that in the past with certain managers that they've had, but it's a pet peeve of mine. I've never really been a huge fan of it, and quite frankly, that could have been one of the reasons why they did it, is because it's something that will grate on people's nerves. That being said, Kenny Omega picks up the win, retains his championship as was expected. We discussed lame duck challengers earlier. This is another example of that. You had Brandon Cutler, Top Flight, Varsity Blondes, A Partridge in a Pear Tree versus Best Friends, The Inner Circle, fucking 10 Maids of Milking, whatever the fuck it is, since we're right on the fucking cusp of Christmas. Dude, this match started off as a 14-man tag. Someone got COVID, so they had to knock it down to being a 12-man tag. That's way too many fucking people to be thrown around, on the sides of the ring.
You're lucky. They almost had Brandy's fetus wrestling in that match.
Wow. I wonder who else gonna have babies for the holidays now. They just keep popping up. Because you just went there.
Right.
Congratulations to Cody and Brandy on the announcement of their upcoming child. Who knew that Cody Rhodes was the biggest baby face in the history of AEW for getting Brandy Rhodes off TV for a year?
You know what's funny?
That's definitely one way to get her off TV.
Yeah.
Is, do that.
Well, is that a COVID baby? Is that qualified as a COVID baby?
No, she's only returning the favor because she got him off.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Michaels.
Wow.
Also, you had Cody Rhodes defeat Angelico, or as I should say, the spastic Angelico, as he comes through the tunnel and with his fucking movements that make me wonder if he's convulsing or if he's going into a seizure whilst en route to the ring. It was a good match, if nothing more than an extended squash match. We all knew that Cody was not going to do the job for Angelico. They did what they could to try to rehab and, give him some shine, but you just knew that how the match was going to end from the very beginning. And so then you also had Serena Deeb and Big Swole against Ivelisse and Diamante. You made a big deal about them winning the women's tag team tournament thing, whatever the fuck they chose to call it, with the medallions, and only to have them lose to two singles competitors that have never teamed together in the history of their lives. And it quite frankly showed. Just not a fan. There was something missing here, and I wasn't a fan. SCU versus the Acclaimed next. Dude, seriously, from top to bottom, this show was, I always talk about WWE TV being completely missable. This show was completely missable. And that really pains me to say as an AEW fan. As you mentioned earlier, Michaels, I took nothing from this show. And we'll see if this was a 1 week anomaly. Like I said, for all I know, this could very well have been the $500 per month Patreon reward for AEW to be able to book a show. And if it was, great. That was good. That's all that it was meant to be. Perfect. Let's move on. Next week had better not be in the same vein as this bullshit. That's all I can say.
Who you booking?
Well, here's the thing.
It's not going to be Tag Team Wrestling Mania next week. It seems like up and down the card, the entire thing was made up of tag team wrestling. And anybody who watches the show, listens to the show, knows I am a fan of tag team wrestling. But there are times to do it. And when you've got a 6 or 7 man tag match, you've got a women's tag match, you've got another kind of borderline enhancement tag match. I mean, at that point, it's obvious that you're just trying to get people on the show so that they can have a payday.
Yeah, but you missed the biggest fucking thing that happened in that show. Sting showed up again, staring at people and doing nothing and not moving anything forward.
I knew you were going to do that shit. I knew you just was itching. Your balls were itching, I bet, this whole freaking time just to say that one line, didn't you?
I think we all know who is going to take the first bump from Sting now, though, and that'd be Powerhouse Hobbs. That's what they're setting up. It's obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious. He's going to be the guy that gets his ass kicked by Sting.
Wow.
Okay, I guess. The Eddie Kingston promo was awesome. I do like the things that they're doing with Eddie Kingston. It's just, it gets muddled. And I'll tell you guys, the second hour of this show, I really felt like I was in like the Twilight Zone or watching a show that wasn't AEW. I was not enthralled with anything that they were doing in the second hour of that show. And that's a huge mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Huge mistake. I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid and I'm gonna tell you if it tastes like shit. And this is one of those times where it tasted like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there unfortunately, that's, you know what, there wasn't a single thing from start to finish. This, usually you can find stuff that is decent for this fan or that fan or whatnot. This week there was just it was like watching, when you have a bug and you flip it over to its back and it's just going like this. Yeah. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Now, I was happy to see the announcement that Omega would be defending the title against Rey Fenix. I think that will be a great match. And especially now that Phoenix is completely healed up from, his injuries that kept him out of the title tournament. I think that we're actually going to get a solid match. But again, that is a future date. That is not the show that we are evaluating at this time. We'll see what happens with that match if they shit the bed.
Yeah. Well, you know, they all can't be hitters out of the park. So
Hey, they're getting ready because they got, you know, Omega's got to face Swan and the Motor City Machine Guns. So
You know what? That's going to be a good match.
I think it will be a good match.
I think it will.
Listen,
But the name doesn't scream out like, "Hey, watch me."
But it's not even the point that it's not going to be a good match or it's going to be a good match. The question is, will you be paying pay-per-view rates for that pay-per-view to see that match? That's what it comes down to.
Well, that boils down to what does most people do when they want to watch, let's be honest, AEW Impact pay-per-views. How are they viewing that? I'm not willing to say publicly how people are viewing that. To me, that's a problem. You should make me want to go pay for your pay-per-view legally. You should make me want to. I'm like, I'm going to spend $50 like I'm in the strip club about to get a lap dance. I got to pay.
And AEW itself, potentially with some of those matches, like they were, you know, mentioning for the bigger show next week. What's interesting is they tend to run those shows for free, and then some of their pay-per-views don't deliver to the standard of
the free ones.
On the free ones. So
yeah.
there are things, and again, I don't want to see those guys fail at all because of the fact that it helps everyone in terms of working and everything, but you know, find out your balance and figure out. I mean, focus on your company before you start, you know, getting in bed with other companies to help them.
I'll read what Chris said, but I'm gonna tell you, I totally disagree with this comment, Chris. My greatest concern about AEW Impact Working Agreement is AEW dumbing their product down in order to try and make Impact look like a credible competitive company.
Well, you can't disagree with that. Impact,
I disagree.
Because, well, hold on.
I disagree because.
But
so
you didn't disagree last week because
I'll
Michael said the same thing. Michael said the same exact thing last week.
What did Michael say last week?
Michael said a comment almost exactly that way. And if it wasn't last week, my apology. It might have been
that AEW is going to dumb down this product to make Impact look good.
He did say that on certain people on AEW on the roster, if you had them go towards one another, you know, you'd have to be careful which ones you pick because you essentially could pick the wrong one. It's just like AEW's up here, Impact's here. And I'm not saying it as an opinion. I'm saying that there's other people saying that same exact comment.
So maybe this past Wednesday, which apparently was just a shit show, I guess that was just AEW dumbing down their product so that Impact this week was to look really good.
No, you personally looking at it that way. That's not what happened.
Well, no,
You just said something that's interesting. Do you watch AEW this week or no? Honest answer.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So that's interesting. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, my perspective was from AEW fans tuning into Impact. What's interesting is you're an Impact fan who didn't tune into AEW to follow up what they gave you on Tuesday on Wednesday. That's a bad sign for AEW.
Because that's not a good business deal to keep continuing forward because you're not getting anything on the get-go. You know what I'm saying?
It's an interesting thing. I didn't even think of that until you said that.
Mm-hmm. New Japan.
I was slick. I like that.
Or you could just have silence.
No, just the way you did it was extra slick.
Yes, they had the this past Friday night in the New Japan Strong had their first night of detonation with Kenta facing Brody Lee as the main event. But before we get to that, Brody King, yes, sorry about that. For the main event. But before that, there was a match. They had a Rocky Romero versus Danny Limelight match that took place, and Rocky Romero, Sin City, won that match.
Yeah. Good showing by Danny Limelight in the loss.
Mhm.
But I mean, Rocky Romero is one of the more fun wrestlers to watch, just
Mhm.
because he can. And I'm not saying that this is what Danny Limelight did, but he could be in there with anything, and he could get a great match out of it.
Yeah.
So when you take a very skilled worker like Danny Limelight and you put him in there with Rocky Romero, those two have the potential to tear the house down every single time, 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
really quick, since you mentioned Danny Limelight, let's just say that Danny Limelight doesn't even have to worry about winning on the show, because he is now the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, CWFH, tag team champion with Papo Esco.
Yes,
So congratulations to those two for working their ass off, man.
without a doubt.
Absolutely. There was also Jeff Cobb against Russ Taylor, and Jeff Cobb won that match.
Yep. And
Yeah.
Cobb looking strong. And got to give a shout out to Tyler Rust Taylor, and appearing on two company shows in the same week. That's always great to see. He looked good in NXT, as we already discussed, and he looked good here against Jeff Cobb. Again, though, the right person won this match. Cobb looked strong, as he needs to.
And by the way, now that you mentioned that too, let's not bullshit here. Let's just say that what we're seeing is a very interesting thing, where we've had Brody King this week, we had Chris Bay last week, we have Kenny Omega. There's all these fucking people now on multiple programs during the week. So it might not even be so-and-so has to, side with so-and-so for much longer. It just might be the whole system's about to fucking blow up.
Bingo.
I'd be cool with that.
Right. Yeah. There was a and I'm sure I'll mess up some names here, so get ready, Sin City. PJ Black and Fred Rosser was against Tom Lawler, and is that Junior Kratos or that JR
Kratos?
Okay, JR Kratos.
Yep.
And PJ Black and Fred Rosser won that match.
Yeah, they picked up the win. And it's good to see that PJ is doing extremely well. I've been a fan of Fred Rosser for a while, and honestly, all four of the guys in this match, Filthy Tom Lawler, he's amazing on the mic, and he can kick your ass, both as a shoot and as a work. So that's definitely a great talent. And JR Kratos, I mean, dude, this guy, I think with the proper time, I think that this guy can really make a name for himself.
Yeah. And then the final was the IWGP US Heavyweight, the Right to Challenge contract match. Kenta versus Brody King, and Kenta won that one as well. But let's not forget, Brody also had a match. Again, he main evented over at ROH against Roosh. That's it's interesting to have not only matches on the same night, but main events, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he looked great in both matches. And that's one thing that's awesome. I think that it's great to see, as Matt had mentioned, these guys working 2 shows in a week, or even in some cases 2 shows in a night.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they're all taped different points, and they're put into the can, so it's not technically on the same night that they work. But
right.
No, it's great to see that you've got all of these different guys kind of intermingling and mixing between the rosters. I think it's definitely a fun time to be a fan, for sure. And you keep Kenta strong with the outcome of this match. Those 2 guys absolutely killed it for nearly 15 minutes, and gave you arguably one of the better one of the better free TV main events that I've seen on New Japan Strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, go out of your way to check that out. Again, you guys check out New Japan World. Seriously, New Japan World it's $10 a month, and they're coming up on Wrestle Kingdom, which is going to be an amazing show, January 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
So this realistically, this time right now is the time where you should be activating that membership and see how you like the quality of Wrestle Kingdom, how it stacks up to how you normally view WWE's product. And, you know, if you choose to cancel it after Wrestle Kingdom, fine, that's completely up to you. But who knows? You might just become a New Japan fan over what you see in the next month.
Oh, what
And
is
like-
it? $10? $10? Nah, I ain't gonna pay $10.
No, but here's the thing. I'm actually buying it on payday coming up on Wednesday as a Christmas present for me. I'd mentioned it last week. That's also why I'm not paying for Fight TV for $5. But I'm saying at the end of the day, I agree with you 100%, Sin City Steve. I do think that I will be one of those people who will probably end up keeping it and just be like, okay, I'm not gonna let it lapse and fizzle out.
And
Yeah.
again, if nothing else, you can go back and you can watch, you know, the New Japan matches with Okada and with Omega, with Nakamura, you know, all the names that we've put over on the show that have gone on to WWE and other feds that are no longer in New Japan. I mean, they have an extensive library available on New Japan World as well.
How far back does it go back? I heard it goes way back, like even like
Long way.
80s. I heard it even goes back like 80s.
Yeah.
So Michaels, that would be good for you to buy that, man. Pop a couple edibles, get your favorite snacks, and just watch New Japan, the 80s. And I'm telling you, man, you will fall in love.
Ooh,
With the
I don't
golden
know if I'd recommend the 80s New Japan.
Well, no, I'm saying for
They
Michaels.
had some dark days.
I'm talking about for Michaels because you know he's our golden
Historian?
era historian.
Okay. Oh God, guys, I think we covered wrestling pretty well tonight, and we want to thank everyone for listening to us. Also, want to tell you Merry Christmas, okay, or Happy Holidays, okay. We can
Merry
run
Christmas.
We can run them all down, but you know, I don't want to miss anyone out. But yeah, and if you happen to listen to our show tomorrow for 3 Count, we'll shout you out again. But if you're not gonna take a listen, we want you guys to have a wonderful holiday, and please be safe. We still live in crazy times, and if you're keeping up, you see that this COVID, it seemed like it's just getting worse. And it's really just because a lot of people are just, you know, not really taking it as serious, you know, and we got to take it serious as much as we can. I'm not going to see my family this holiday. Since I've been alive, I've had Christmas with my entire family all the time. My Thanksgivings haven't been that way. We've sometimes split apart and being part of different parts of the country, but for Christmas, we've always been together. And this is the first year that we're not going to be together. We're going to Zoom it out and FaceTime, whatever, and we would do that. But we want to keep people safe. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. You know, my mother's really open age, and I don't want to be the one, and no one else want to be the one to bring something over to her. And you just got to think that way. And I just want you guys to be safe out there. And you know, we'll see you when we get back for the following week as we can close out 2020. By the way, speaking of the pay-per-view at TLC, did you guys enjoy the match between 2021 and 2020?
Yeah, they first aired that on Raw.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been running this whole week. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it was pretty good to see that. All right. Did you guys have anything you want to say for this particular show?
Is it Christmas related? Are we doing Christmas send off? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, if you want, we're gonna have a Christmas month for 3 Count too, but it's up to you.
Okay. Well, you know, for everybody, thank you for watching the show. But I do want to let you know Christmas time is coming up. If you're a Christian, Christmas. If you're not, Xmas, fine. Just, you know, this is the one time of the year to where if you're an asshole, don't be an asshole. Put yourself and kindness forward and make.
The gift.
I knew you were gonna do that. It was funny because no, I'm happy he did that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this was the perfect time for him to shut me the fuck up.
The gift that keeps on giving.
But yeah, definitely. And also too, for all the guys that aren't lucky in life with the ladies, right now there's the opportunity for you to accidentally be underneath the mistletoe with that special somebody and kiss them. Just make sure you have proper legal representation, because it's horrible for you to spend the new 2021, because that's probably when your ass is gonna get out, in legal problems.
Not only that, but also proper COVID testing.
That as
before
well.
doing it.
That as well.
All right, guys. Well, with that, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.